I've got something wicked awesome here coming up. And we're not talking about pizza. We're actually talking about something so much more special. I'm talking about the beautiful dish from Turkey called Pide, which is a Turkish flatbread. And it offers a variety of amazing and simple ingredients. And it's a lot of fun to make. So if you're interested in the recipe, go to kcknh.com. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share. By simply using your favorite bread recipe or pizza dough recipe, and along with some very simple and easy to find ingredients, you too can enjoy this beautiful dish. And quite honestly, I think the kids would have a great time helping mom and dad out. And you can make this any way you want. You don't have to have it spicy. You don't have to have it uber savory. You can even just keep it classic simple with a variety of cheeses. But to be very truthful with you, it's definitely something you're going to want to experience. So you're going to use your own favorite bread dough, pizza dough, whatever works for you is really the basic principle of this. We're working with a dough that's about 35 to 37 degrees Fahrenheit. It's okay if it's on the softer side of things. You actually want it that way. So I'm taking some of my own homemade dough here and I've cut it in half after pressing it down a little bit. And as you could see, that cut is intentional. I've made this oval with a point, if you will. And I basically want to go ahead and press this out by hand first. I want to get rid of any bubbles. And we're really laying down a foundation here so we can start stretching this out with a rolling pin. Now, I just keep it simple. Flour the counter. You don't want to use too much, but you certainly want it for movement purposes. So we're taking the rolling pin, we start from the middle, go upward, and we go back downward. And we're just making sure that the rolling is as even as possible. So I flip it over. I just want to make sure that there's nothing wonky going on with the dough. And I always do another press just to make sure we've got no bubbles hidden in the dough. And we're pressing this to the point that it's going to fit a half sheet. Most household ovens, you can actually use a restaurant grade half sheet size pan, and it's going to make a big difference. Because when I make this, I have a dough ball that's big enough to do 2 pide, and it stretches out the length of that half sheet pan. So I'm just going back into the dough. We're making it slightly wider, and I always like to go ahead and take my hands to it as well. Sometimes it gives me a better feel from it. And I'm feeling pretty good with this dough with just a few light stretches here and there. And it does tend to do the rubber band thing. It will remember a few things. It'll go back, so you just have to do a light stretch. The one thing that really comes together here is you don't have to have a sauce. If you wanted to do just an herbed olive oil, you could do that. Or you could avoid a saucy application altogether, to be truthful. But I did up a basic tomato sauce with a little bit of pomegranate molasses. I also added some cumin, a little bit of salt, pepper. That way we had some flavor to the tomato. And I'm just using a variety of cheeses. And you want to keep them on the thin side. And of course, if you're getting some really aggressive cheeses out there and you have to break them up with your fingers, just go ahead and do that. But we're just going to make sure that we're covering almost everything. We don't certainly want to kill this with cheese because we want it to cook. I'm just doing a basic pinching technique with the edging of the dough here. Now, traditional pide would typically just flip the sides up and then you start doing a point on each side. Do it whatever you want. It's really up to you. I just like the beveled edge look because when it cooks up and then you hit it with some melted butter at the end of it, oh my God. It's like having breadsticks on the side. But this is going to help keep that sauce in. It's going to help keep the cheese in. And then I can go ahead and I can top it with whatever I want, but I just don't want to overcrowd this. So I've got some really small white button style mushrooms that I've cut up, a little bit of bell peppers. I have a little bit of hot peppers in there. Some of the green is actually some hot peppers. And of course, I love tomatoes. Tomatoes is a big thing with pide, but I also like the hit of the tartness from them. Now, if you're lucky, you might be able to find some Middle Eastern sausages at a Middle Eastern market. I actually found some sojok at a local Middle Eastern market that we have here where I live. So we put that on there. And we're going with the next one. My husband loves provolone, so we went ahead with the provolone. Gotta make him happy somehow. And we're just keeping it simple, believe it or not. I know this may look like it's a lot, but it really isn't. And of course, if you were to see this in front of you, this is really a very elongated flatbread. And we're doing the same thing. I'm just pinching the sides here just to secure everything. That way it stays in place. And it's really easy to do. I find a lot of meditative fun in this. I love making pide. It's a very rewarding dish. And I love the creativity that you can do with this because there's really no rules with this. It's just make it the way that you like it. There are some versions out there that it has a variety of herbs and cheeses, and then when it's almost done, they'll put an egg right in the middle of it, and they finish it off in the oven. It's just absolutely beautiful flavors coming together. And this does not cost a lot of money to make. You may find some pricing issues when you're using Middle Eastern meats. Obviously prices are going to vary depending upon where you're getting them. But vegetarian style, you can't beat it. And it's really, I have to say, the lightest meal you can have. I'll have a third of this. My husband will eat one complete pide, to be very truthful. And I'm sure you could tell which one is going to be going to him. But as you can see, now we're hitting it with some herbs. These cook in an oven 450, sometimes 475, just depends on what I'm working with. Ultimately, we want to go for a nice golden brown. And when it comes out of the oven, it's going to be the most beautiful thing. So this is that flat fold I mentioned earlier that you can do just to keep it as traditional as possible. I had to go and do something different, I know. But you can't beat how beautiful looking this is. And look at the variety of toppings that you can do. Or you could just do one. You don't have to do as many as I did. I just happen to love hitting a lot of vegetables in this. And look how gorgeous this came out. The nice subtle browning to the crust, that's in the process of being hit with some melted butter. And take a look at the finished result. Isn't that stunning? So easy to make, guys, and it really is a crowd pleaser. To do 2 full pide in one pan really takes the cake. So I hope you'll enjoy this. I'm going to post something here shortly, and I can't wait to get some feedback. Have a good one, guys.